Hello everyone, it may be a little noisy. It's 4th of July, so everybody's popping fireworks in my neighborhood. I don't get why anybody's celebrating this day, but either way, I will continue. So today's video, I'm going to be wrapping up my June reads, and I read a good amount of books. I started a lot of them, but I never got to finish them, so I'm just gonna tell you guys about the ones that I finished, obviously. So starting off first, I have Heartstopper by Alice Osman, and that author is amazing. I enjoyed every single bit of that graphic novel. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely a fan, and I want to get into more of the series. I believe the most recent volume is volume 6. Yeah, I believe the most recent volume is volume 6, and I believe somebody said that that will be the last volume for this series. Kind of sad that I didn't get to follow the series throughout the whole, time. Got to, follow the characters and the author as they created each and every single one of these beautiful graphic novel books, but it's all good. I will definitely be trying to pick up more of Alice Osman's work in the near future. After I read Heartstopper, I read The Henna Wars by Adiba, Jaigirdar, and I enjoyed that book. 5 out of 5 stars. It was a very good experience. There was a lot of trigger warning based things in there, like cultural appropriation, religion, homophobia, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, things like that. But overall, the book was excellent, and I definitely see myself rereading this in the future. If you want an intro to cultural appropriation for, let's say, like a teenager, this will be the best way to do so. I believe younger than that can read it too, but to get into it and further understand why it's wrong, this is a really good book to introduce that. I feel like that was very much tackled well. I mean, it's not my culture, so I can't really give, a full out review, but I would say the way it was written was very clear as day and easy for anybody to understand. After I read The Henna Wars, I read Heavy Vinyl, and this one is by Usdin Vakueva and Flores Natalie, yeah. Definitely enjoyed this graphic novel. It was my cup of tea. It focused on music, specifically vinyls, and there was a whole superhero group behind it to protect bands. Like, that sounds so cool. Absolutely enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 stars. This was my second read for the Queer Lit Readathon. Definitely enjoyed it. It's an experience. I have to pick up the other volumes because just like Heartstopper, this is just top notch. The writer put their foot in this, their whole foot, period. It's so good. It's literally so good. And then after I read Heavy Vinyl, I read Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevado. So good. There were so many dark and very sad things going on, but the book was just so good. Like, I couldn't put it down. I actually listened to the audiobook on Scrib, and I just couldn't leave it alone. I just kept going back and listening and listening. I actually listened to it in one day, one sitting. Oh, amazing. That was my 3rd book for the Queer Lit Readathon. So good. I recommend it. There are a lot of trigger warnings such as cheating, parental abuse of the emotional and physical, and also verbal kind. There's also just sexual abuse, sexual assault, religion, there's various other trigger warnings, but they're just not popping up right now. But yeah, those are the main ones that I can remember off the top of my head without having to refer to the book. But yeah, it was a very, very dark story, a very, very, very troubling story overall. but it was so beautifully written. And on Scrib, the two voice actors, is that what that, no, the two narrators for that book, wow, like I was there. I felt like I was inside the book, like literally experiencing it. It was just next level. And then after I listened to Clap When You Land, I read Freshwater by Akwaeke Emezi. So that book is very much 5 out of 5 star material. I think I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Let me double check. Oh no, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think I know why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, let me try to remember, because Queer Lit Readathon was the second week of June. Okay, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because I felt like, although it was a beautiful story and the way it was written was very lyrical, very beautiful, very vivid, it was just a drag at some points, and I felt like it was too descriptive and verbose. I wish at certain points certain details were not included. Besides that, there were enough details to carry the story. There was enough of a story to, like, you know, keep me interested, and I very much enjoyed that, which is why I gave it 4 stars. But I took off 1 star because it was very verbose and very wordy at times, and that made me kind of tired when reading the book. After I read Freshwater, I read Phoenix Extravagant by Yoon, and I believe I gave this 4 out of 5 also. Yes, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars also. This is a book that focuses on a society at war, and we follow a character who is just trying to discover who they are as an artist, and in the process gets abandoned, finds work, ends up just infiltrating a system and then starting a war. There is a lot of mythical beings in this, such as an armored dragon, and it's really cool. But one critique I have, which made me take off a star, was that not only was it wordy at times, but it also lacked the oomph I thought it was gonna have. We're talking about people fighting for their freedom, and I felt like the description of how things were happening was just a little too dull for me. It wasn't lyrical enough, or it wasn't vivid enough at times to the point where I can picture it. It was just very dull, and it made me want to skip the action scenes a lot of the times, which is kind of disappointing for me, because as a sci-fi fan, as somebody who's into like action movies and stuff, as somebody who's into horror, you know, I want to know the nitty-gritty, like the blood was dripping from so-and-so, the knife slashes so-and-so. Like, I want to know, like, I want to get into those details. I want to feel those details. I want to reminisce on those details. I want to indulge in them, and that just was lacking for this book. However, overall, I would say it's a good read. I just don't think it's top-notch quality yet. It has the potential to be, but with those few things that it lacks, it's brought down to a 4 out of 5. After I read Phoenix Extravagant, I read The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, and love this, love this book. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. One critique I have for this book is that at the end, where I felt there should have been more action, it became wordy. And I'm just like, nobody cares about this person's backstory right now. Why wasn't that backstory in the beginning or in the middle, you know? The backstory just popped up out of nowhere, and I'm just like, but they're in the middle of a fight, and it's not like it was incorporated in a way that I could enjoy. It was just like slapped in there, which is why I got agitated. And yeah, besides that, I felt like the book was very much constructed well. The flow of it is amazing. We start from a perspective of a person we don't know about yet, and then you continuously see people grow and build and be awakened, because this book is based around New York City. Well, overall, this world that is being written is based around different cities that come to life to protect their city. So let's say for me, I represent New York, and I am awakened to protect New York. And then I have people who give me their power so that I am strong enough to defeat any enemy that tries to take down my city. So that's basically what this is about. It's in the genre of sci-fi, fantasy, and it's very it's very good. Like I'm so intrigued. We even meet like Tokyo and Sao Paulo, two other major cities, as they mentor New York into saving New York City. And then we meet the Bronx, of course, Brooklyn, Staten Island. We meet Manhattan and Queens as they try to venture to help save the person who's representing New York, and give them their, you know, power so that New York can save their city. Definitely love this. I just hate that the villain wasn't as badass as I thought the villain would be, because the way the villain was written from the beginning to the middle was very much badass. I thought there was gonna be like a villain reveal, or it was gonna be like, you know, more descriptions of who the villain is or what their motives are, but it's just a little a lot of unfinished things, a lot of things that aren't mentioned, a lot of things that still need to be answered for this villain. However, this is the first book in the series, so the second book probably will get more into the villain's motives and who the hell this villain is in the first place, because like, hello. After I read The City We Became, I read The Chiffon Trenches by André Talley. Definitely enjoyed that, gave it 5 out of 5 stars. However, my critique is that I felt like André focused more on critiquing others. Weird line of things, you know? That's crazy. Ironic, isn't it? André Talley critiqued a lot of individuals in this book, and I wish that he focused more on himself within that situation instead of trying to switch the perspective to, oh, this is what that individual was doing at this time, or something like that. We did see a lot of the same sequence also. I wish that was changed up, where it was like, oh, let me introduce you to this person in my life, and then how I see them, and then critiquing them. Yeah, I just wish that sequence wasn't continuous throughout the whole book. But besides that, it's a pretty good book. You get a very good peek into the fashion industry. A lot of things are exposed as of how a black man is treated in the fashion industry. But yeah, I just felt like it could have been at another level. But for the quality of the writing and the consistency, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was 5 out of 5 stars material, because although I wish it was written a different way, it's written beautifully and it's excellent. And yeah, after I read that, I read Witches Steeped in Gold by Ciannon Smart. I also had my mom read this at the same time. She finished before me though, but I also had my mom read it at the same time. I bought like the Owl Crate edition of Witches Steeped in Gold. Okay, I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's not because it's bad, but it's also not because it's excellent. I found a lot of things weird, starting first with the usage of patois, or patois to some people. That was just all around weird, because the usage of some of the dialect in certain sentences was just like, what the hell? It's just not making sense. Even my mom was like, we really do not talk like this. We just don't. And so that was weird. Also, I found it weird the way Irea, one of the main characters, I found it weird the way she was like developing throughout the story. It was very like, it was questionable, because at first we come to find out that she is a strong and powerful individual, but throughout the book we don't really get to see that. One thing I did appreciate is that the author gave her a softer side, a very vulnerable side, which is something we don't get to see a lot for black women in books. They're always depicted as warriors, very strong, not allowed to have a soft side. And I do love that Ciannon Smart gave us that soft side, but I wish that there was a balance, for like an even balance for the very powerful warrior side of Irea. However, this may be the first book because on Goodreads I saw #1, so this may be the first book in a series, and Irea may have a further character development. I just thought that if you're gonna write in that she has all this background in being a warrior and training to be a warrior, why isn't that also depicted within this book? Another thing I did not like was when Curtin, another one of the main characters, when he was introduced, he was given like this mystical vibe, and then at the end we get like this whole information drop about who he is and what his purpose is. I just didn't like the way it was dropped. I think it could have been pushed earlier, before the end. Literally within the last 20 pages we get an information drop for that character. I think it could have been earlier, like prior to like probably like 60 pages before those 20 pages we could have got that information drop, because everybody else was like getting these like dual perspectives. What was Jasmine doing? What was Irea doing? What was so and so doing? I think we could have had like a little bit of a moment for Curtin, because he already solidified himself as a main character, so him having an information drop prior to the end wouldn't have been so weird. But yeah, I just found it to be a little weird for that one. But yeah, I give that 3.5 out of 5 stars. After I read that, I finished And Then There Was Me by Sadequa Johnson, and I give this book 2 out of 5 stars, not 2.5 out of 5 stars. I actually gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. This book was booty, ass, horrible, throw it in the trash. Why am I rhyming? I don't know. I felt like the author rode on the trauma of our main character. Our main character is B, also known as Beatrice, and various other names throughout the book because everybody has a nickname for her. And she goes through so much, but there's really nothing more to the story besides her trauma and her trying to deal with it and get out of her marriage. And although there is like a few moments of like recollection of why she is the way she is, it's just like straight up trauma after trauma. There is no development, no evolution of this character, no evolution of her story, besides the fact that she may or may not potentially get out of this marriage, and she may or may not finally find out who she is outside of this marriage. I feel like this book had potential to be something more, and it just wasn't hitting the mark. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars because I was engaged in the story from start to finish, although I was cringing throughout the whole thing. I did love that the author gave her a redemption arc in the piece. You know, she gave her some time to redeem herself because she did some questionable things close to the end, but the author gave her time to redeem herself. And, you know, yeah, there was just a lot of good. Not even a lot. There was a good amount of good within the bad, but there was just a lot of bad, and I would never recommend this book to anybody. And then finally, the book that I absolutely love, my favorite book of the month, I believe. Yeah, I think this may be my book of the month. Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. Hold on, because you guys can't see that. Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. Definitely love this book. Oh my god, it's literally like the parallel to And Then There Was Me, because the characters are going through the same thing. They're both faced with eating disorders, but the difference is one is like focused on 2 sisters and the other one is focused on a marriage. And for Yolk, that focuses on 2 sisters, one sister having cancer and the other one being bulimic, just like B in And Then There Was Me, who was also bulimic. However, the difference between what Sadequa Johnson did and what Mary H.K. Choi did is that Mary H.K. Choi allowed the trauma to become an evolution, a period of growth, and a period of realization. I thought that was very beautiful. I thought that was very much written in a way that was captivating, and I felt like Mary H.K. Choi took that by the reins and wrote it into the sunset. I love this book. 5 out of 5. Trigger warning though, cheating, parental abuse, also eating disorder, cancer, and various other things alongside that. But yeah, also rape. There is mention of rape and sexual assault, so be careful with that. If that is too much for you, do not jump straight into this book, because there are a lot of things that, you know, are discussed in here. But anyways, Mary H.K. Choi depicted so many things perfectly. I felt like the whole mental part of the situation between Jane and her parents was very much depicted perfectly, and the whole description of the siblings relationship was definitely written beautifully and perfectly. It was very dark at times, but however, I can't say it wasn't accurate. I have to say it's very much on brand. And yeah, Mary H.K. Choi just tore the literary scene up. I'm a huge fan now. I need more books by this author because the literary scene is on fire. It's non-existent. It's just Mary H.K. Choi. She said it's me. Who else? No, for real though, because like, who's really up there? Mary H.K. Choi is eating them up. Like, love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. I have so many tabs because I love this book so much. I'm gonna try to get another copy so I can get some more people to read this, like my mom, or I don't know. Yeah, that is my reviews for these books. That's all I read in June. Of course, there are like about 4 books missing, and that's for good reason. I was busy. The Queer Lit Readathon, I just did that out of nowhere, and I did get a good amount of reading done though. I'm very proud of myself. I got like 11-12 books done. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. The next 2 videos should be reading vlogs, or it should be an introduction to my TBR for July. Either way, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.